Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. This is the show where we answer your questions about movies, TV shows, comic books, Spider-Mans. Once or twice. We've discussed the Spider-Mans once or twice. I'm your host, DJ Woldridge. With me is Roxy Stryer. Hello, Roxy.
Hello, DJ.
In general, how do you feel about Spider-Mans?
Web slinging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, there's never been a Spider-Man movie I didn't like.
What is of the Spider-Man movies that you like, which is all of them, what's your least favorite?
Oh, I don't know.
If you had to pick one.
I'm not sure.
What's your most favorite?
I don't know that either.
Okay.
Do you have off the top of your head those?
Yes, my favorite is Spider-Man's 1, which I know is not everybody's but that was a
Spider-Man 1.
Spider-Man 1, Sam Raimi, Spider-Man 1, just because I was like 15 when it came out. So I was the exact right age. It was a big watershed moment. I was like, oh my God, this is everything to me. So for nostalgia purposes alone, it holds a very special place in my heart. Even though I will listen to arguments of Spider-Man 2 or Into the Spider-Verse. All those are very good as well.
Spider-Man 2 is the most popular answer, I find.
Yes, and I'll take that. If somebody was to say, like, I understand that you love Spider-Man 1, but Spider-Man 2 is a better movie, I'm sure you're right, but Spider-Man 1 is special to me, so that's my favorite.
Yeah.
And my least, or the one I think that is the weakest of the Spider-Man movies, I would argue, is Amazing Spider-Man, because it is a bad rehash of Spider-Man 1. Like, it's not... Spider-Man 2, I know a lot of people don't like Amazing Spider-Man 2. But I find its kookiness charming, and I like its.
Love Amazing Spider-Man 2. I love that movie.
I think there's things about Amazing Spider-Man 2 that I find defensible. That I think some of the stuff in it is kind of fun and kind of works. I don't feel the same way about Amazing Spider-Man 1. I think Amazing Spider-Man 1 is kind of a slog.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that you weren't a big fan of the Tom Holland movies.
I'm not. I think they kind of fumbled the ball. I think they're relatively across the board kind of weak. Although I do like No Way Home for the reasons everybody can imagine. It's cool seeing all the Spider-Man together. They did that really well. The way they executed it and introduced it in the movie really works.
It might be my favorite Spider-Man movie.
I'll hear it. I will engage with that argument because again, I like No Way Home. But the other ones, I think Tom Holland's a really good Spider-Man. I think you could make the argument that Tom Holland might be the best overall Peter Parker Spider-Man we've gotten. And I really want those movies.
Is Tobey your favorite?
Is Tobey my favorite? Even though he's in my favorite movie, I don't know that that's true. I think you could make a similar thing. I think for me, The Dark Knight is still the best Batman movie we've had and probably may ever have. But then you'd be like, so Christian Bale's your favorite Batman? I actually don't know that he is, but that movie's really good. Same with Tobey. It's like, those are my favorite of the Spider-Man movies.
But I'm asking you, who's your favorite Spider-Man? Do you know?
That one, I feel like closer to you, where it's like, they all good. I don't think we've had a bad Spider-Man. Even I think the Andrew Garfield ones are the weakest. He is good, and he really is good in them.
I think he's my favorite Spider-Man.
I've heard that as well, and I think that's really fair. I think he's really talented. And going back to the No Way Home conversation, it was kind of a moment for him and Jamie Foxx to be like, "Listen, we weren't the problem."
Yeah, totally.
It wasn't us.
I have a hard time with all the slander on Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2 because I just think that Andrew Garfield's so good and endearing, and same with Emma. Like I just love their chemistry and
great chemistry. Yeah.
I often have referred to Amazing Spider-Man 2 as my favorite rom-com until it's not.
Until it's not. Yeah.
But yeah, I was like so emotionally invested in that movie. But it might be Spider-Man 2. It might be No Way Home for my favorite Spidey movies. And then I think Andrew is my favorite Spider-Man.
Yeah. I think
I don't know, man. That's so tough.
I think I would argue that I think overall, even though I'm not as big a fan of the MCU Spider-Man movies, I think Tom Holland might be the best overall. Like he gets Spider-Man right, he gets Peter right. Like you nailed it. And truthfully, I think one of the best Spider-Man moments might be in Civil War. I think the best MCU Spider-Man movie is Civil War. I think it's like, yep, you nailed it. And then we got to his own movies. I'm like, they're okay.
What was the moment?
When they recruit everything with him in Civil War, like when Tony recruits him and everything, and we're introduced to him, I'm like, oh man, all this really works. And then I felt like they tried, and I don't know if this was a Sony thing or a Marvel thing or who, but it felt like they tried too hard to distance it from the other movies. And it's like, yeah, but there's things. It'd be like if you made a Batman movie and you're like, yeah, but Alfred's not in it. And it's like, what are we doing, man? Like, what? Why?
Who's Alfred?
If you made a Batman
I get what you're saying, but who in Spider-Man did you feel
Mary Jane? Like, I think Michelle Jones. I think Zendaya's great. I think Michelle Jones is nothing of a character. Ned is just Genki. Like Aunt May is not Aunt May. Like we didn't do any. Aunt May's nothing until No Way Home. And so I think in its efforts to differentiate it from Amazing and Spider-Man, they traded off a lot of things that are core Spider-Man components. Which is a bummer because it's like you have Tom Holland and you have it in the Marvel universe. Just do Spider-Man. You don't need to raise the difficulty for yourself. Just do Spider-Man.
Kind of deviating for 1 second, but are you going to feel that same way about the DCU if we don't kill Superman's dad?
No, because there's a lot of in the post-crisis reboot he didn't die. So there's been a lot of story of in fact having Clark's dad die is something we've started doing again. We didn't do for a long time, and we started doing again more and more as an homage to the Christopher Reeve movies. So there's enough precedent there for the dad not dying. That's fine. I would be more bothered if it was like, here's our new Superman movie, and there's no Mom, Pa, Kent, because we've done that before. Who needs that? Well, Superman does. Like, that's a silly thing to remove. That type of thing. And it felt like Marvel was doing that. Like, why would we have Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy, these characters with all this history? Instead, we could have Michelle Jones. Well, what's interesting about Michelle Jones? She's played by Zendaya.
That worked for me.
Cool. But,
well, now are you excited? What's Stranger Things girl's name?
Sadie Sink.
Yeah, are you excited about the possibility of Sadie Sink being XYZ?
I don't know. We'll have to find out who she's playing. I have a pet theory. We'll save my pet theory on Sadie Sink for later.
What's a pet theory?
A pet theory is like just like a pet peeve, but it's a theory. It's a theory that's my kind of theory.
But is it a theory that pisses you off?
No, it's just a theory that's like a pet peeve is a peeve that's kind of just for me. A pet theory is just my kind of theory. It's not something I heard or whatever. It's just kind of like, hey, maybe it could be this.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, I have a pet theory on Sadie Sink, and I have a pet theory on Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, but we're gonna save
Did you
that.
Make that up?
I don't think so, but I'll take credit for it if you guys wanna attribute to me. I'll take it. That's what we're talking about today. A bunch of news since our previous episode. A bunch of news dropped about Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into that, we're going to be talking about some of the comments you guys left on our previous video, which we talked a lot about the Fantastic Four and Superman box office, which the Fantastic Four box office is not doing so hot since we last discussed it. The drop off for week 2 is pretty steep apparently, and a lot of comments came in hot about my opinions on Fantastic Four, which I thought it was pretty clear that I liked it. I just preferred I like both. I just preferred Superman. A lot of comments came in kind of pissing me about my Fantastic Four takes. Just stuff of like, you really like, you child, how dare you, what do you want? You want Reed Richards to be bendy like SpongeBob? All right, I don't know. But here's the thing, I don't read, and we read comments on the air. I don't do the negative ones. As much as I'd love to make fun of them on the air, I feel like it's reinforcing negative behavior. Okay. So I try to focus on the positive ones. There was also another one that was angry at me about wearing masks. I suspected that one because people are still mad about it for some reason. But
I'll never forget shooting a movie during the pandemic, walking into a coffee shop wearing a mask. You know, I'm just trying to keep my job, not get sick. And this person turned over to me and said, "Fucking cockroach."
Yeah. Okay. It's weird. Yeah, it's a weird.
People get so mad. It's like, I didn't put one on you. I didn't force you to this is what I be doing.
And they get mad at the left for politicizing everything. Anyway, we're not going to get into that right now.
Right?
Here's the comments we got. Dbaka3618. I'm very curious to see how Avatar does. I think both of them have hit 2 billion. Will the third? I believe Spider-Man Brand New Day and Doomsday will both make 1 billion, with Secret Wars making 2 billion. Honestly, I don't see a future where Deadpool and Wolverine make 1 billion and Avengers Doomsday doesn't. That's a solid argument, I think.
I don't know anything about box office anymore.
Same.
Like, I feel so not equipped to talk about the future of box office that it is crazy. And every time I talk about box office, people are like, you were so wrong. And it's like, yeah, because I am just a civilian guessing.
Yeah. Same. I have never felt equipped to talk about box office. Like in this comment where they're like, the Avatar movies both hit 2 billion. I'm like, is that true?
I know when I found out the other day that Captain Marvel made 1 billion, I was like, I had no idea.
Yeah. Not really my umbrella of expertise. Kit Kat Sneak Attack 7933 says Mark Maron would make a great J. Jonah Jameson, in my opinion. What do you think about that, Roxy?
That would be perfect.
I like Mark Maron. I've never seen him. He's grumpy, but never like I don't know if I've ever seen him be anything like aggressive.
Oh. You watched Glow?
A little bit of Glow.
And you watched Stick?
A little bit of Stick.
Oh, I feel like he's grumpy and aggressive in both those. But more so than that, like in his stand-up, he's extremely aggressive.
Yeah.
I love him so much. He says his bit in his most recent stand-up about how if Hitler was alive, he'd go on Theo Vaughn's podcast, and then he acts out what the podcast episode would be like. I was crying. It's like so he is so grumpy and so annoyed with the world. He's like mwah to me. I love he'd be great.
I say let's give it a try. I say I'm down. As much as I love J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, I'm totally down to try something else. Greek JR2 says, in regards to Comic-Con and announcements, this is kind of what happened just before E3 folded. E3 started as a convention for vendors, though. So I think Comic-Con will survive, but many of the big publishers started saving their announcements for their own conventions and shows, and E3 became less interesting because of it. So what he's referencing is, E3 was the big video game. Roxy knows this because she's a gamer.
Yeah,
but E3 was a big video game convention, and that's where all Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft would do their big game announcements. And then they started doing their own direct-to-fan announcement stuff, and E3 kind of fell apart with that. But I think, Greek JR, you're pointing out something really distinct, is E3 was specifically for professionals, whereas Comic-Con's to everybody. So I do think I think there's less risk of San Diego Comic-Con folding as it is just getting smaller and kind of going back to what it was before it became like the dominant fan event,
Yeah, I also, like, as a reminder to people, Comic-Con is not just San Diego Comic-Con. This week is Boston Comic-Con. My friends all go to it. It's, like, so exciting in different cities, especially, like, in cities that maybe aren't entertainment focused, and they get to go. Like, my brother and his wife are taking their my niece to go take a picture with Ewan McGregor and somebody, like, it's like the talk of the town that it's Boston Comic-Con. And so, like, Comic-Con's still internationally and nationally a huge deal. So yeah, I don't see the brand going away.
Yes.
But it is odd, and I'm super curious on how these huge tentpole films, what they end up doing for their announcements, and how these huge companies like DC fandom should come back, because
I agree.
Like, what are you doing then if there's not? I don't want to hear about this in the investor meetings. I don't want to hear about this at the upfronts and the new fronts where you're speaking for money purposes. Like, talk to your fans at some point.
Exactly. I totally agree. Levido CQ. It's LEVIDOCQ.
Okay.
So however you pronounce that, says Vanessa Kirby would make an even better Saturnine. Dude, that was one of the. I love it when the comments like, no, you guys, this is the casting, and they'll pull out a character that even I have to look up. I'm like, Saturnine? Which one? Oh, Saturnine's that one? Okay.
But this is in response to somebody else streamcasting her somewhere else, right?
Yeah. We had a comment that was like, Vanessa Kirby should be Emma Frost. And I'm like, well, that track, Saturnine? Where you pull? Nope, Saturnine's not going to show up in one of these movies. Saturnine. Come on.
Tell me about Saturnine.
Saturnine. I'm telling you, Roxy, I had to look. I was like, Saturnine? She's an Excalibur character, which is an X-Men spinoff that takes place in Europe. So the deepest of deep cuts. So, I mean, sure. God bless you for knowing who Saturnine is off the top of your head. And thinking, I'm sure Vanessa Kirby would be great at it.
She's real good.
She's real good. Iko Rich says Logan had a reported budget of around $100 million. So the $619 million it made was more than enough for it to be a tremendous success. And that was a film that had to pay 2 premier actors. Imagine how cheap it would be with unknowns. They could make a profit at $250 million even.
Who's the second premier actor?
It would be Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman.
Patrick Stewart, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I thought they were talking about forgetting her name right now.
Oh, Laura Kinney? No, because that was her. That's the character's name.
Exactly. She's been
literally
crushing the carpets recently. What?
Yes, she has. Her name just shot right out of my brain.
I know.
I feel like that's gotten worse since I had a baby. My brain's kind of cooked since I had a baby.
What's my excuse?
I had a baby, and you're like, you're thinking about my baby, and I get it. Everybody should. He's a cutie. God, I was like, DJ, start the sentence and then you'll remember. And then I tried to remember and it completely derailed me. And I'm like, God damn it.
I was hoping that somebody in the chat was going to bail us out, but they haven't yet.
Help us out. Because we'll know. This is why I don't do any of those trivia ones anymore.
Daphne
Keane. Thank you.
I didn't look that up. It just came to me. I'm so happy for myself.
Yeah, Daphne Keene's been crushing it lately. And she's great in it, but she wasn't a big name then.
Find it.
Yeah. This is why I don't want to do any of those like trivia stuff. It's like, no, man, because the second, even stuff I know, the second you ask me about it, it's going to go away, man.
If I know something like the back of my hand and then you ask me in a trivia setting, I cannot answer the question.
It's gone forever.
It's gone.
So,
even if it's an opinion thing. I remember one time Mark Ellis for the Trivia Schmodown was trying to convince me that I could do it. And he was like, no, you could do this. What's your favorite Aerosmith song? And I was like, couldn't come up with one.
Yeah. Yep.
Could not come up with a song.
What is your favorite Aerosmith song?
Not a specific one. I don't know, man.
See, this is why we don't do trivia stuff, guys.
Maybe Sweet Emotion, maybe Walk This Way, some of the classics.
Going back to this comment, they can make a profit on $250 million even. It seems like they can make a ton of good movies that way. Joker was half of Logan's budget and did $1 billion. Those were my 2 favorite comic book movies, bar none. Budget doesn't have to be everything. I agree with you, but we're not the ones that get to decide them budgets. They're not asking us. I would, as somebody that has been working for a very long time to be an independent filmmaker, I would love to see the return of mid-budget movies. That would make me very happy.
Yeah. In all fairness to them, things are more expensive now.
Mm-hmm.
So when people are like, yeah, but then you would have made a lot more money. And it's like, today, Logan wouldn't cost that amount. Logan would cost more.
Yes.
But I agree, obviously. I mean, it's egregious.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think we should keep shoveling as much money as we can to the richest people in this country. And I'm sure some of it will come back to the rest of us eventually. I know we've tried it a few times and that's not how it's worked. And I know logically, if you think about it, you're like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. But I think if we keep trying it, one of these days, it'll break through. Anyway, real quick, a completely unrelated note. Here, the charity of the month. Every month I choose a different charity that I try to direct you guys towards. The charity for this month is Trans Lifeline. You can visit them by going to translifeline.org. Trans Lifeline is a grassroots hotline for microgrants nonprofit organization offering direct emotional and financial support to trans people in crisis. They provide peer support for the trans community and have been divested from the police since day one. And it is run by and for trans people. So right now is hard for everybody, but it is especially hard for the more marginalized communities. And one of the most marginalized communities in the world is the trans community. I have trans friends. And I think just in general, support people and let them live their lives. So I think this Trans Lifeline, I was looking up stuff online. This seems to be a great resource for trans people in crisis. And I think it's an organization worth looking into and supporting. And as always, it's important to work in your own local community. So, look in. I know there's a lot of organizations as different states. If you're in the United States, as different states pass anti-trans laws, there's different organizations in each state to kind of help the community and combat these, frankly, kind of draconian and gross laws. So. If you're looking on the national level, check out translifeline.org, but also check out orgs in your area. So let us go into them news. Roxy, maybe it was last week, either last week or last weekend. People that pay attention to media might be familiar with a young lady that goes by the name of Sydney Sweeney. You might have heard of her. She's been in Euphoria. She was in the hit movie Madam Web, among others. And she's come into hot water for doing a jeans ad for American Eagle. And here's this is what I'm going to read from is a Guardian article. And in this, they quote the voiceover that Sydney Sweeney gives in this jeans ad. Genes, and this is GENES, genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue, she says. And the tagline for this jeans ad is, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Technically spelled JEANS, the jeans she's wearing. So this, of course, has had a lot of reactions in the climate that we're in. According to Guardian, there was a TikTok reaction video that received hundreds of thousands of likes and comments. Quote, it's literally giving Nazi propaganda. J.D. Vance, our current vice president, criticized the unhinged Dems and hailed Sweeney as an all-American beautiful woman. So much of the Democrats is oriented around the hostility to basic American life, he added. The article goes on, it emerged that Sweeney is a registered Republican. She registered as a Republican in Florida a few months before Trump won the presidency. I thought I pulled this thing, but it's also worth noting Trump very vocally came out in defense of Sydney Sweeney. Always, I'm sure great for her brain. I'm sure she was like, awesome, great that this is happening. However she's registered, I'm sure her PR agents were like, awesome, great. Near as I can tell, as of this moment, she's not come out and said anything about this firestorm. And since Roxy, you of the two of us, you tend to follow celebrity news more, I wanted to know your thoughts on it.
Yeah, there's like 10 different parts to this, right? And even further than this, a lot of celebrities have come out with their own takes on this. Like Lizzo made her own jean ad based off of this. Lizzo
is Lizzo pro the jean ad or making fun of the jean ad? Either way, don't
like made her own song, and definitely not pro the jean ad.
Okay,
but then people were shredding Lizzo, who's also been in hot water for the last couple of years. So it's like. It seems like this has been a hot topic amongst celebrities as well. The first thing, or I guess going to the second thing about being a registered Republican is newsflash, a lot of celebrities are registered Republicans.
Yeah.
A lot of very wealthy people are registered Republicans. A lot of broke people are registered Republicans. But when people are like, Hollywood is so liberal.
Yes.
Remember that the team that Trump put together to be like the heads of Hollywood or whatever they're called, relating government to Hollywood is like Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and Jon Voight. All registered Republicans, obviously. So there's a lot of Republicans in Hollywood. I come across them every single day. And there's a lot of very conservative people. And so
even people, just to add to that point, even people that are not registered Republican, most, especially successful people in Hollywood, somebody like me probably falls to the left of most people in Hollywood.
So that was like very not surprising. People who were like, what? She's a registered Republican? I was kind of like, wow, I guess people really don't understand how Hollywood operates because her and a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I was neither surprised by that nor upset by that, because if we don't watch any registered Republicans on our screens, then there's not a movie I know that would have every one of its leads.
Yeah.
Also, I think how you're registered, I have friends who have registered one way, voted another way. I have friends who have registered and not voted. I have friends who are registered differently than me, who vote differently than me. So
Yeah.
that part was like, I was like, okay, I think that people are really, really digging here. The American Eagle ad, to me, I don't know about being mad at Sydney Sweeney about it. She was cast in an ad and she did it. And
Yeah.
I think it was super weird of American Eagle. Like, just, I didn't think it was a good ad, mostly because afterwards I thought it was a Levi's ad. So I didn't know what brand. I forgot. Like, afterwards when we were talking about it, I was like, what brand did that?
Yeah.
So that means your ad didn't work, because I know the one thing you need to know from an ad, which was what the company was, because I was so distracted by so many other things that were going on.
Yeah.
Including the way you read it is not actually how it is read. DJ, have you seen the ad?
Yes.
Okay. Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, even eye color. Like, her voice in the ad is like so wild. And there's been, of course, a lot of parodies of this, which I have a weird voice too. People make fun of my voice all the time. She doesn't really have a weird voice. Her voice in this was odd. Like, very breathy, and just, it was so strange. It did not sound like her. So altogether, I just think that the ad was poorly done.
Yeah.
I wasn't sitting here thinking that it was Nazi propaganda. I like, as everybody knows, I cannot stand when people use the term Nazi for not Nazi things. It's like, just to me, completely insensitive and disrespectful. Calling this Nazi propaganda is like more egregious to me than the ad coming out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's a really poorly done ad that is a lot of what's wrong with our country right now, which is like, being a hot, young, white, blonde, blue-eyed girl is cool and trendy, and the it girl. So that's odd.
Yeah, and I wonder how maybe I'm giving too much credit or whatever. Like you said, Sydney Sweeney, I don't know anything. I don't know Sydney Sweeney or whatever, but she's a person doing a job. And I would like to think, you'd like to think somebody would read that copy and be like, no, what do you do? No. But also, she was a Madam Web. Sometimes you just take a job. But I don't
think we've been out here being like, Sydney Sweeney is she's the astrophysicist of this generation. Like, I don't know anybody who like takes their cues from Sydney Sweeney.
And Sydney Sweeney knows how to hustle, and she's out there working. I don't even know if the people writing the ad were like, maybe this was the intent. Let's do something controversial or something like that. I think if the most generous read of it, it's like, it's bad timing and poor taste. It's not. This isn't the time for this. This type of thing. I think why I don't even know why I'm trying to do the work for them. Like, yeah, if this is your ad campaign, this person has good genes, find a black actress, one of the hundreds of beautiful black actresses we have, to also with Sydney Sweeney. You know what I mean? Like, do a bunch of
3 or 4 actors. We have good.
That's genes. What I'm saying. Like, pick 4, each from a different demographic background. And and guess what? If they're famous in Hollywood, they've got good genes. If that's the bit we're doing.
Right. I know. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier this week, DJ, is just like, did you guys not workshop this at all? Like, you just came up with the concept and you're like, let's shoot it. And it's like, all it would have taken was one extra person in the room to be like, something's iffy here.
I'm gonna assume, I feel relatively safe in assuming that when they were coming up with this ad campaign, was a lot of honkies in the room. I'm going to assume is the situation we're in. Nobody would be like, oh, you guys know how this comes across, right? You know how this seems like,
I definitely think they don't. I am not under the impression that they thought they were putting out a controversial ad. It does not seem like that's what happened, which is hysterical because some people are just horrible at their jobs.
Yeah.
I really think that they thought this was a normal ad that was going to run spots, and it was starring Sydney Sweeney. Like, imagine if this had been the Euphoria girls. So much better.
Yes. Yeah. You get literally the whole Euphoria cast.
There were so many ways to make this okay. I don't want to say I feel bad for Sydney Sweeney because you make the choices that you make in life. And also sounds like her and I might not be politically aligned. I don't know anything about her politics, but just sounds like we might not have similar beliefs. But she is getting shredded, and who's not getting shredded is whoever wrote this, whoever shot this, whoever the executive was. Like, she is the face of this. And very clearly to me, she's not the biggest issue of this campaign.
To the politics point, and I don't know if this story is apocryphal or not, but I saw a quote. John Carpenter was talking about his good friend Kurt Russell, and he was like, "Yeah, Kurt Russell." The quote I saw was John Carpenter saying Kurt Russell is to the right of Genghis Khan, implying that Kurt Russell is very conservative, and Kurt Russell
is to the right of Genghis Khan is a crazy quote.
And I don't know when this was. I don't know when John Carpenter, they've worked together for a long time. This could have been like in the 80s or whatever. But Kurt Russell also has a quote of like, yeah, I don't think people should talk about their politics. I think it distracts from the work. And it's like, I think that's smart, man. Because who we're not, who I don't have problematic things to say about is Kurt Russell. Because Kurt Russell just shows up in the movies I like and is great in them.
But in all fairness to Sydney Sweeney, she wasn't talking about politics.
That's true. That's very true. And again, as far as I know, I don't know if you've seen it. She hasn't said anything.
I haven't seen one thing. I haven't seen her say jack crap about anything.
Yeah.
Except for I have good genes.
That was good.
It reminded me of, what is the name of the girl? I actually love her. She's in Uncut Gems.
Oh yeah, what's her face? I know who you're talking about.
That's exactly what Sydney Sweeney's voice sounded like.
Yeah.
And she's an icon. She's like been so fun to watch, absolutely blow up. I'm just blanking on her name right now, but the Uncut Gems girl.
Yeah.
That's what Sydney Sweeney sounded like. I have great genes. And I was like, why are you talking like that? And that's also a direction thing. Why did the director not say like, just say I have great genes?
Yeah.
Why are we making love to the genes?
Well, let us know in the comments about Sydney Sweeney, I guess. But here's the thing. Here's the main thing we're going to talk about today. A little bit more fun. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. We're going to be talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day. Last episode we did, as of recording, Sony released a little tease of the Brand New Day suit. Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to be the fourth entry in Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies. It was set within the MCU. After we recorded, Tom Holland posted a video of him coming out in the full suit, or at least the upper part. Roxy, I've got some other pictures for you. If you guys are watching the videos, you'll see this now, of Tom Holland in the Spider-Man suit. I've got some full body ones as well. And the reason they did this became pretty evident fairly quickly, because like the next day they started filming on location in Glasgow. So there's a lot of like behind the scenes pictures and pictures with Tom Holland on set. Here's some of them. He posted some pictures himself. So for those that are listening to the audio version of the podcast, this version of the costume is almost identical to what people were calling the final swing suit in No Way Home. However, it is less shiny, which I personally am a fan of. I thought the final swing suit was a little too shiny. But also, if you've seen Spider-Man in the comics, it's Spider-Man.
Him picking his wedgie in this photo is amazing.
Yeah, well, it's interesting too. I felt this is one of those things. So the photo we're looking at is some in-action shots. He's got some wires to do some wire work, and to me, Roxy's talking about where the wire work on his pants, just pulling up a little bit. I'm sure that can't be comfortable. But I'm also seeing, you can see what looks to be like a mic pack and some harness for the thing, and it makes you appreciate, even in these big budget superhero movies, and even quote unquote practical shots, the amount of effects work that has to go in them, so you don't see all the wire and all the harness, and all the mic pack and all that stuff.
Also, I have to say, obviously, it's a dream of mine to play some amazing superhero or villain.
Yeah,
but it is so goofy to be a grown ass adult and have to be in this costume every day for months. Like, he's got to probably feel super weird, and specifically the Spider-Man costume. Like, this grown-ass man has to get up. I don't feel bad at all about it. You know, it's an amazing job. But has to get up every day and put on a latex, like, wedgie, pull your junk, try to readjust outfit, and be in front of thousands of people every day. And that is funny.
I totally hear what you're saying. For me, that Spider-Man aspect, that doesn't play as much for the Spider-Man aspect, because I still think I have enough of that little 6-year-old in me. They're like, oh shit, I'm Spider-Man. The one where I feel it more is for somebody like Vanessa Kirby in the last act of Fantastic Four, where she's on a green screen and it's like, look, just put your hands up and be like,
yep.
And it's like that. I would not be able to get out of my.
You are an adult.
One of the many reasons I never pursued acting, but like, those acting exercises of like, you're an animal. I can't take that seriously. I can't get into that headspace.
I know. I'll never forget one of my first like commercial auditions, and they were like, okay, so imagine we're throwing a frozen turkey at you. Yeah. And then you're picking up the frozen turkey, and it's heavy, it's melting, and throw it back like a football. And that's what you're doing. And you just feel like, I look like an idiot. But the second you look like an idiot, you're not doing a good job anymore.
Exactly. And what's so funny is, and you would be able to speak to this more than I can, a lot of my understanding of the history of acting, a lot of those exercises are help you get into that headspace. And what's interesting about at least these big blockbusters, it is now, as opposed to tools to help you when you're on set, that is now what acting is. You're a giant green guy. I know you're in a dotted suit and with a green screen, but in your brain you have to be a big green guy in a cityscape, and it's like, that's all it is now.
Yeah, I've done 5 movies so far, and I've never had a movie like that yet. Yeah. So it is interesting. But even in my most recent movie, which is an action movie, when it's like, okay, and you get to this point, and then the stunt people come in. So just stay in exactly this pose or whatever, things like that, where you're like, okay, but I'm not even people aren't doing the job. They're doing the job before the job. So yeah, I think the giant green guy thing will be crazy. Whenever I have something like that, it will just be wild. But back to the suit, because I do think he looks good. And I do think that Tom Holland is awesome. It was interesting to me how much older I feel like he looks now than if you're looking at pictures of him. I don't think you have any of these, DJ, but like OG Tom Holland. Like, he was
a baby. He was a baby when he was first cast.
An absolute baby. Yeah. And so it is wild. He still looks very young to me, and you think he's still young, but it's wild to watch Spidey kind of grow up. And I think this is the longest we've ever had a Spider-Man, right?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Because it's not only, at least definitely for years, but also just amount of movies. Because it's not just his trilogy. He was in 3, 1 Cap and 2 Avengers movies. You know what I mean? Like, we've had a lot of time with this Spider-Man.
So it's cool to grow up with him. And I like his Spidey. I like his Peter. Watching him grow, he like really is the heart of a lot of this. And I love Spidey.
Yeah, I think a lot of these set photos look really cool to me. The other thing is, so not just these,
DJ.
Yeah, I know. So some of these set photos go really hard.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, these two specifically. Sorry for the audio listeners, but it's him posing on a car, and it's so funny because the older I get, and the more cynical you are, whatever, and then you see images like this, and you're like, oh, it's Spider-Man. There's still part of you. There's still that hope, and it's hard for me having. And granted, my son's too young for this to mean anything to him, so this is all for me. But having taken him to a Superman movie, that's the type of Superman movie I've been waiting for my entire adult life. There's part of me of like, I hope the Spider-Man movie really rocks, because that would be cool too, to take them to that and be like, they're good ones. We've got good ones now. They're good.
Right.
So here's the other things. Here's the other announcements. We got the suit reveals. But also, it was announced Mark Ruffalo is returning. This is from The Hollywood Reporter. Mark Ruffalo is returning to reprise the role of Bruce Banner, a.k.a. the Hulk, in the feature, which comes 14 years after the actor joined the MCU and Avengers. At the same time, Michael Mando, known for his work in Better Call Saul, is returning to reprise his role of the Scorpion, the villain character whom he first played in Spider-Man Homecoming. So for people that may not remember, Michael Mando played Matt Gargan, who Spider-Man, he's just a low-level crook that ends up getting arrested. But the tease at the end of Homecoming was he approaches Michael Keaton's Adrian Toomes in prison and be like, I heard you know who Spider-Man is, tell me. Michael Mando's coming back to finish his transformation from Matt Gargan to Scorpion, and Mark Ruffalo is joining the movie as the Hulk. And of course, Jon Bernthal's Punisher is supposed to be in the movie as well.
Didn't we just have Scorpion?
Did we?
In what the hell is the movie called?
The Scorpion showed up in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the new animated series that came out.
No.
We've not. Scorpion has not
Aaron
appeared
Taylor
in,
Johnson's movie.
That was Kraven the Hunter.
And what was
and that it was Rhino and Chameleon. Both showed up in those.
Chameleon? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell me about Scorpion. I don't know anything.
So in the comics, originally Scorpion is like a low-level crook that J. Jonah Jameson recruits to kind of make his own anti-Spider-Man.
Okay.
And he gets put in, like a lot of 60s villains, he gets put into a suit that unfortunately he can't get out of. And enhances his strength and all that. And he has a prehensile tail. In some versions, he can shoot acid or other toxins. So in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, he plays a crime boss that gets a suit from Doc Ock. And so I'll be interested to see
crime boss. Like, is he giving Falcone or like?
No,
what?
More like gang leader, more like leader of a local gang, the local Latino gang in New York, and he butts up against another gang that deals with the plot. Actually, ends up being pretty good. I was the first couple episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I wasn't a big fan, but the show ended up turning around for me.
Have we ever had a live action version of him?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about this character. Is he like a B-level Spidey villain?
Yeah, I think B is a good. He's not quite C-list, but I think B is a good. He's one of the original Stan Lee, Steve Ditko villains. So he's part of the Sinister Six a lot. So he's got that heat. He's got a little bit of that popularity, but he's not Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Venom, like one of the big dogs.
So for you as a knowledgeable person in this field, is this exciting?
Yes.
Cool.
I'm a fan of, granted, it doesn't always, like when they were like, Tim Blake Nelson is coming back as the leader in the new Cat movie. I'm like, dope. I'd like to see them follow up on that. And then we got that movie and I'm like, that was underwhelming. But there's that part of you that's like, yeah, follow up on that plot point. I'd like to see the Scorpion. Kevin Feige, we're going to have some Discord questions that deal with this, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But Kevin Feige has said it's a more street level story, and considering the amounts of antagonists that have been revealed so far, we've got some rumored ones that I'm going to tell you right now. It leads me to believe that we might be getting like a gang war story that Spider-Man's in the middle of. That could be really cool, I think. I don't know how that is all going to play out. So we also have rumored. Here's the other villains we have rumored. I think most of these come from Daniel RPK, who's, in this space. His name comes up a lot. I don't know how people reference him a lot. I actually don't know how accurate it is, but whatever. Here are the rumors. We're also getting Mr. Negative for people that have played the Spider-Man video game. He's the PS4, the Sony PS4, PS5 versions. He's a main antagonist in that. Tombstone, Tarantula, Boomerang, and some guy named Ramrod. So those are apparently
not somebody that you know.
He's some cyborg guy.
Okay.
Yeah. I would, based on the images I saw, it looks like a lot of him ramming his head into stuff. And it's like, if we're going to get a guy that uses his metal head to punch holes in walls, I would choose Hammerhead. He's much more popular. But, whatever, man. I'm not. We will see. Roxy, with that, how do you feel? Are you like cool? Or are you like, that sounds like a lot? Sounds like you're doing a lot.
No. I mean, I don't think. A lot of these movies have been extremely loaded, and I haven't found any of them to be overloaded. So I have to
Yeah.
trust that, a lot of the movies would sound like on paper that it's just too many characters, too many things, and they haven't
Yeah.
been for me. So no.
Can I tell you the one concern I have
I want to know.
is that looking at the suit, love the suit. I like Destin Daniel Cretton, who also directed Shang-Chi, is directing this. And even though I have my issues with Shang-Chi, I thought he did a good job. I love the street level stuff. If they're doing a gang war thing, love that. The implication, none of these announcements have been like, this is the main villain of our movie. You know what I mean? And the rumors or the implication is somebody like Mr. Negative or somebody like that is going to be the heavy. And I find it a little bit concerning that we're filming, like that we're shooting the movie, and we haven't announced who the main villain is yet.
They don't know.
I don't. It feels like if they had cast it, we would know, and so I find that a little concerning. It's kind of like when you hear that they're filming Doomsday, and the script's not finished, and it's like, what?
Yeah, but that's Doomsday. I don't think there's a world in which this movie doesn't know who its villain is.
I'm sure they know on paper. I'm sure they know in the script who the villain is. Do they know who's playing it yet?
I would think yes.
Okay.
Why would they hold off on the casting for the villain?
Well, if they so you're saying that you think they cast it and they just haven't announced it?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, I'm hopeful. I just think if you got it, if you've locked that down.
Or I guess like maybe the structure of this movie isn't one big bad.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe that could be interesting too. The other thing I wanted to mention, there's some set photos running around of Jon Bernthal's Punisher that I'm unclear if this is for Brand New Day or his one-shot special, but it's a little bit different version of his suit. He's rocking a beard, and the skull design is a little bit more clear than it has been in previous versions.
I like the idea that he rolls up his sleeves neatly like that.
And not only that, but the one thing, Jon Bernthal is great as Punisher, and he looks great as Punisher.
He's amazing.
I love how much attention this version of Punisher gives his hair.
Yeah.
A lot of time spent on making sure that fade is perfect.
Yeah, he gets a cut once a week.
That's like he goes to a place and they do it. And it's that is funny to me. I'm going to jump over to our Discord questions. Mike Joyce, are you disappointed it won't be a more street-level Spider-Man movie? As far as I know, it's supposed to be. Hema, she/her, says, how can you have Mark Ruffalo and be street-level? So this is all kind of responding to the same thing. Austin says, I thought they said it was going to be street-level. And Mike Joyce responds to all this by saying, apparently Punisher, Spider-Man, and Hulk are all going to fight each other. Azrael responded, if Hulk punches Spider-Man into the street, it's street level. So Roxy, do you feel like with the announcement of Hulk and Scorpion and all this stuff, does it still feel like it could be street level to you, or does it feel like we're straying from Kevin Feige's promise of a more street level story?
I don't think those things are mutually exclusive. I'm not calling Mark Ruffalo, I'm not calling Hulk a street level hero, but I feel like he's also not our biggest, it's not Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So I think that they've said it's street level. There's nothing about the announcements that make me feel like it's not going to be. I think it'd be really weird for them to say it's going to be a street level Spidey movie and then have it not be a street level Spidey movie, or more street level at least. That would be really bad marketing on their part. I don't know why they would do that. So, yeah, I feel like we're okay.
Well, now we get into some of my pet theories, Roxy's favorite phrase, pet theories.
I do like that.
It also responds to a question Jake Hefner had, which is, what role do you think Hulk will play? I also felt like it was weird. I actually like the idea of Spider-Man going up against Hulk because the power levels are so different. It's like, how does Spider-Man stop a Hulk, But the other aspect of it of the Hulk that we've never gotten, that I'm a big fan of actually, and could fit a quote-unquote more street-level tone, is there's a version of the Hulk called Joe Fix-It, where he's gray instead of green, and he has a penchant for wearing suits, and he's kind of like a mob heavy. Like, he works his muscle for the mob, I believe, in Las Vegas. And so if we're dealing with like crime bosses and stuff like that, I do think it's not out of the realm of possibility that, we could be seeing Mark Ruffalo play the Joe Fix-It version of the character. Let's say like the big bad is somebody like Mr. Negative, who in the comics has the ability to control people's minds. Maybe he's manipulated the Hulk into being his main muscle. That could be, I feel like I'm doing a lot of the work for the movie for it, but that could be really cool and still kind of fit the street level tone.
You want a paycheck for that, DJ? You're saying?
No, I just don't. It's more like I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to build a movie in my head that I'm not being promised.
Yeah, I do that all the time. I don't know that character, or like that iteration, but that sounds cool.
Yeah, I'm a big Joe Fixit fan. I just think he looks cool, and I think the idea of him is cool. And this feels like, especially if somebody like Mr. Negative is the big bad, this feels like because here's the other thing: no matter what, you're gonna have to explain. Because ever since Endgame, Hulk went from since Ragnarok. In Ragnarok, he was Hulk and he couldn't become Bruce Banner. And then in Infinity War, he was Banner and couldn't become Hulk. And then in Endgame, he's Smart Hulk. And then at the post-credit scene in Shang-Chi, he's back to being Mark Ruffalo again. And then you know what I mean. And so we're gonna have to explain like what is Hulk's deal now in Brand New Day? Where is he at? Like what's his? No matter what, we're gonna have to justify that. So saying like Mr. Negative wanted big muscle, so he did some mental gymnastics inside Banner's head, and now he's Gray Hulk, and that's how we get Hulk. And then maybe he loses control and becomes Green Hulk at some point, because who wouldn't want to see that? And then we're off to the races.
I kind of like this from Zachary in the chat, who said maybe Hulk or Banner remember Spider-Man because they weren't affected during the Doctor Strange spell. That'd
be cool.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I don't know how that would work, because everybody's everybody.
Science.
But yeah, I think that would be cool. Zach Corey having, this is in the Discord again, having Hulk be the villain seems a bit repetitive. Cap 4 and the Red Hulk, with the Red Hulk being only 2 movies ago. I feel like Spider-Man Punisher movie could be cool, but having Hulk be what they team up to fight seems lazy. Would you guys have had Spider-Man Punisher team up movie be? What would you have it be? So Roxy, you're getting the call from Marvel. They're like, we want a Spider-Man.
I don't know, DJ. I think you're a better person to have this call, because I know that people are saying it's repetitive, but like I like watching people fight Hulk, so I think that sounds cool.
I am a much bigger. I've been rooting for put Punisher and Daredevil in a movie. So when they're like, we got Punisher, I'm like, great, and then we also have Hulk. I'm like, I like Hulk, and like Roxy, I would like to see Spider-Man fight Hulk.
Yeah,
but I'm still holding out for Daredevil.
But you want to see Spidey and Punisher team up to fight Daredevil?
No, I would probably more Spidey and Daredevil team up to fight Punisher is how that normally goes. But the 3 characters are very closely connected. Punisher first appeared in a Spider-Man comic. So and also Jon Bernthal and Tom Holland have worked together a bunch. They're going to be in the new Odysseus movie.
Wasn't this supposed to know who do you want the 2 of them to team up to fight against?
What would you guys have a Spider-Man Punisher team up movie be? Personally, I would pull from, there was a story not too long ago. It was a 3-way crossover between a Daredevil comic, I think it was Mark Waid writing at the time, Punisher, which was written by Greg Rucka, and Spider-Man, who I think we were in the Brand New Day era, so I don't know who was writing it at the time. But there's this hard drive that has all the information of all the major, AIM, Hydra, The Hand, all the major players in the criminal underworld. And Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Punisher all getting kind of a 3-way fight over it. And I thought that was a great story. And I was like, just do that. Just do that in a movie. I think that would be really cool. But again, news outlets are saying like, this is Punisher and Hulk fight. Punisher and Spider-Man fight Hulk. I don't think that's what the movie is. The impression I'm getting is we're going to be getting a lot of gangs, possibly in a power vacuum, possibly after the events of Daredevil season 2, however that plays out. And Punisher's going to be doing his thing where he's like, I'm going to murder some fools. And Spider-Man's like, I'm not big on the murder thing. So I also want to stop the fools, but I'm also going to stop you from... And I think Hulk does fit well into that, because it actually fits in a lot of ways, because it's a character that the Punisher might want to kill because the Hulk is a problem. But Spider-Man knows Hulk and I are friends, so I'm going to stop you from doing that. And also it requires Punisher just can't go at Hulk with normal guns. So it pushes you in a position where Punisher has to use different weapons than he would in the specials he's in that are too violent to be a PG-13 movie.
Put DJ in the writer's room.
Well, apparently Gina Carano sued Disney to keep working with her. So maybe if I just sue Disney, I can get the job. They settled with her, and they're like, we look forward. This is probably bullshit, but they're like, we look forward to find new opportunities to work with her.
Oh my God, when did that happen?
Just yesterday. So So maybe apparently you can sue Disney into working with you. Is the lesson I think from that.
Charity of the month, DJ?
Translifeline.org. Austin A. I doubt he's going to be a quote unquote villain. Maybe just something causes him to revert Savage Hulk. We're still talking about Hulk in the Discord. I like that y'all are talking with each other. Leonard Kim, do you think this will be the beginning of a new Spider-Man trilogy, or do you think they will try to wrap up this version of Spider-Man with Brand New Day?
Depends on how much money it makes.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
I really think it probably depends on how much money it makes. Also, I don't think that they're trying to wrap it up. I think that they're trying to hold on to Spidey.
Yep.
So more.
And who could blame them?
Yeah, more like the beginning.
Yeah, I think the plan is, I think Roxy's 100% right. It depends on how much it makes, but I think the plan with 100%, and that's what I've heard, is that they negotiated for a new Spider-Man trilogy with Tom Holland. And so this would be the beginning of that. And he's definitely going to show up, if not in Doomsday, in Secret Wars. There's no way we're not getting at least one Spider person in Secret Wars. So I think Tom Holland is probably here for the long haul, as would be my guess.
The long Holland.
The long Holland. The long Tom. No. Those were all your Discord questions. My pet theory, just to answer the thing on Sadie Sink, is back in the 80s, there was an animated series called Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and they created a new character called Starfire. Not Firestar. Is it Firestar? Yeah, Starfire is the DC character. Firestar.
Starfire.
Yeah, Firestar is the Marvel character who is a redhead and a mutant. And so I think it would be interesting to have Sadie Sink be Firestar as kind of another, like, hey, the X-Men are coming. And also she's a character that was specifically created for a Spider-Man cartoon. So I think that would be fun. And nobody's really speculating that, but I think that'd be a cool, because it doesn't make sense to make her Mary Jane. I know it's Michelle Jones, but functionally Zendaya is filling that. Yeah. So that doesn't make sense. You could dye her blonde and be Gwen Stacy, but why? Like, why would you do that? And having Jean Grey appear feels weird. Some people have been like, she's a redhead. Jean Grey's a redhead. Maybe she's Jean Grey. That feels weird.
I think a lot of people think she's Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, that's maybe, but like, why? You know what I mean? Like, what do we get? I think there's merit. I think there's merit in introducing right now, since Zendaya MJ doesn't know who Peter Parker is. There's merit in introducing the idea of a love triangle. Take advantage of that. But Gwen Stacy's loaded. Gwen Stacy's, I think introduce Angelica Jones, Firestar. She's a mutant. She's got fire powers. X-Men around the corner. You could still have a little. To me, that seems like the more fun answer to that question. But hey, man, we'll all find out together. But right now, what are we going to find out? We're going to find out where you can find what Roxy's working on.
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer. I also go live on my own channel, which is youtube.com/Roxy Stryer on Wednesdays and Sundays. Usually talking about television, pop culture, more movies, personal life stuff, all of that. And that's where you can find me.
You can find links in the description for that. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash. I also have a personal channel. Sal and I just did our Suicide Squad discussion. I do a show called Trash Talk, where I just did an episode with Lon. You can check all of that stuff out. The Danger Boy pre-order store is closed. The letters are done. Colors are done. It is locked. It is off to the printers. So I should be getting the proofs of that very soon. So I'll keep you guys up to date on that. But stay tuned. There will be more Danger Boy around the corner. So stay tuned for that. But thanks to everybody that supported that. Speaking of support, please, once again, go check out translifeline.org or other orgs in your area. And we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.